All right, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education on this Monday morning. I hope you are already excited to get your week started, and I hope you had a great weekend. Some of you were grinding over the weekend. Some of you took a little bit of time off, whatever you end up doing. It is now the start of a new week, and I want to challenge you to really take things to the next level this week. I want you to know something. I really believe that it's never too late to start creating the life that you are meant to live, the life that you truly, truly want to live. Now, I know I've had a lot of conversations recently with people that feel like, maybe they're behind the eight ball. Maybe they're wishing they had done things differently up until this point in your life. But I want you to know that no matter where you are in your life, that there's a lot of opportunity right now. In fact, I had a conversation over the weekend, and I was really excited to have it because I always love it when people come to me and say things like, "Man, I don't know if I really can still do what I want to do, live the life I want to live, have some of the dreams that I want to have because I've done things for so long a certain way." And it was just really invigorating to have this conversation with them because at the end of the day, there has never been more resources. There's never been more knowledge. There's never been a time that it's been simpler, maybe not easy, but simpler to do the things you want to do in a shorter period of time. And so when I say I believe it's never too late to start living that life or creating that life you're meant to live, it's something that I truly, truly believe. So if this is your first time listening, listen, I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any more episodes. The reason I created the Daily Mastermind was to inspire, motivate, and educate on a daily, weekday basis myself. I mean, I really started this podcast for myself. If you notice, I don't sell anything. I haven't had advertisers. I don't generally on the podcast offer anything. In fact, it's been forever since I've even offered, tickets to an event or something like that with a partner that I've known. But I've done it for myself, and it's done a great job of really creating a daily ritual for me. Daily rituals, I believe, are some of the things that keep you the most consistent working towards the goal that you want to accomplish. And what's happened is over time, it's kind of taken on a life of its own. The Daily Mastermind has been something I've started to do more for other people. And, it created that consistent habit for me. By the way, what are you doing on a day to day basis that is a consistent daily habit that you can do that will take you closer and closer to your goals without you having to think about it? Something that keeps you consistently moving on the path that you want to move forward into the area that you want to move into. Well, like I said, I started the Daily Mastermind for myself. I'm now doing it in order to provide content, resources, success, and principles for everyone else in my life and for you as well. So I'm glad you're listening. Look, I started at an early age. I got into the workforce pretty quick. I had twins right out of high school. And the more and more I worked, the more and more I grinded, the less and less I felt I had control over my life. But I was always on that fast track of sales and marketing. And I felt like the more, I did now, do today what most won't, so you can live tomorrow like most can't. That's saying you've probably heard much of your life. And I made more and more money, and in all respects, I was able to create success. I started to make more money, and I didn't really feel the fulfillment. So I thought, well, I'm going to live the lifestyle that I want, and I had the cars and houses and trips and travel and things like that. But in the end, it really didn't create the success that I felt I wanted. And I learned a bunch of things. Besides the fact that you have to disconnect success from fulfillment, it's not they don't go hand in hand. I also realized that success was not to be pursued, it's to be attracted by the person that you become, and that you had to get that inner world, that inner being, that self-satisfaction, the things that you can create without anything in your external world. It's one of the reasons I have the Phoenix emblem that I've trademarked globally. You've seen me wear that a lot, that Phoenix emblem. And many of you know what the Phoenix is. It's a mythical bird. It's been since the beginning of time. It's kind of been a symbol in, Egyptology and Greek mythology and things because, as you've probably heard the story of the mythical Phoenix, the Phoenix is a bird that kind of lives forever. You've seen it in everything from Hollywood movies to Harry Potter to things like that. And the idea behind it is that the Phoenix will get to a point in its life where it will build a nest and it'll burn itself up in flames, but it'll rise from the ashes to create a more powerful, more resilient, bird. And so the idea of evolving and creating the best version of yourself is something that I've taken to the core. And it's one of the things that drives the Daily Mastermind. That's why my commitment to you is to do this on a day-to-day basis. But here's the thing. It starts with belief. You have to believe that you can create your best life. It starts with being able to believe that you are the person, you have the skills and talents. And when I say belief, maybe it's a little bit of faith as well, because you have to believe in something that you haven't necessarily seen results for yet. And when creating your best life always resides outside your comfort zone, it's not something you're going to be, completely familiar with. But you have to believe that you can create your best life. And then when you start to believe that, there's a couple things that creating your best life requires. The first is a decision, a serious, solid decision that you're going to do the things that it's going to take, and the sacrifice of what it is. And I always talk to individuals that I've worked with, the high-end CEOs and individuals like that, where I talk about, look, you may have made many decisions in your life, but your actions don't validate that that's what you truly believe. And so decision without a commitment is not really something that's going to get you results. So you have to make a decision, but you also have to follow that up with a solid commitment or resolve that you are not going to give up until you've achieved the things that you want to achieve. And once you've made that decision, you can start to find clarity and focus around what it is that you're trying to create in your life. The challenge most of us have, we feel overwhelmed, anxious, stressed, depressed, whatever it is that we don't have clarity around the future vision of ourselves and what we want our life to be like. See, when you have clarity around what you want to do, the decisions you're making in the short run become easier. You don't struggle with what should I do with this or that, or taking on more, or saying no to things you shouldn't say yes to. So creating clarity is super important because it helps you to focus in on what it is that's going to create results. And that's really all it boils down to, focusing on things that are going to create a result and not getting distracted. And so I've also found that when you create a massive amount of certainty around your decision, your certainty will help you to stay mentally in the game, to be able to move forward. And I learned that from Ed Milet. One of the things you got to do besides creating, clarity and making decisions is to flood yourself with certainty around what it is you're trying to do. That involves being in the right environment, surrounding yourself with the right people, doing the things that are going to take you there and increase your belief until you have actions and experiences that change your beliefs. And then obviously it takes all out action. And that is an area that a lot of people just fail to do. They're too busy planning and organizing. I do that myself, and not just taking action. But I'm telling you right now, it's not a complicated, difficult thing. It's a simple thing. It just is not easy. And so my goal with the Daily Mastermind is to do a couple things. I believe that for you to create your best life, it's got to be in all areas: mind, body, money, business, and lifestyle. Now, I'm not talking about balance, because it's not always going to be in balance. But if you can consistently focus on getting your mindset right so that your inner world will help to create your philosophy, make the right decisions, and keep your mindset around building a life that is for you and not for someone else. But that mind and body connection is so important. Your body is going to determine whether you have the energy, the focus, the clarity, the ability to execute. And some of you are not living the life that you need when it comes to healthy living, drinking water, sleep, reducing anxiety and stress. And so your mind and your body are important. That's why on the day-to-day, I'm talking about mindset, body, money, business, and lifestyle. Money, you don't need to have, so many people feel like you need to have a lot of income to be able to start worrying about wealth. And I'm here to tell you that you have to think about wealth first, because you build your structures around that, whether it's asset protection, financial strategies, tax reduction, estate planning. These are things that you should think of now, because if you're trying to create a life based on a vision of the future, you have to build a plan for that. So your mind, your body, your money, your business, what I'm going to do over the next, maybe 8 to 12 weeks is I'm going to double and triple down on this idea of authority marketing and building a personal brand and finding ways that you can increase your authority, your trust, your credibility. Because what you'll find is when you do that, you will not only grow your business, but you'll attract opportunities, and you'll clearly differentiate yourself from your competition, because there's only one you. And if you don't learn to build authority, you're not going to be able to maximize that. And then, of course, we're doing this all to create a lifestyle. your relationships, your peace of mind, your lifestyle, whatever it is that you enjoy, that's the stuff that we want to do it for. So those are the areas that I want to talk to you about. And the Daily Mastermind is here to keep you consistent with that. So if you tune in for 8 to 10 minutes, occasionally we'll have some longer form, podcast interviews. But the Mastermind is designed to do that. Now, we do have a Mastermind Academy, and I'm not going to talk about that here because that's not really the goal of this. But, for those of you that really want to dig deeper, the Mastermind is inspiration, motivation, and education, but our Mastermind Academy, which we access through our Evolution X Mastermind mobile app, it's an exclusive app that we custom built out through Jadari. The Academy is designed to give you the strategies and tactics and help you to execute. And so, you can check that out in our most recent edition of Valiant CEO Magazine. We had a full page ad for the Mastermind Academy. This is the cover. This is the one that we interviewed President Donald Trump on the cover of this last month in April. The Academy is something that's there. But here's the bottom line. I want to help you to stay consistent, and I think that that's part of how you flood yourself with certainty. So that's my message for today, is that it's never too late to start living the life you're meant to live. Tune into the Daily Mastermind every day. Let us help you stay consistent. And do me a favor, share this show. And when you do, tag me in your post or your comments or your email, wherever it is that you're sharing it, because I'd love to see what you're doing. I want to see what it is I can help you with, what we can do to take your life to the next level. So if you'll tag me in that helps me to look and to see that. To be perfectly honest, I don't live on social media right now, but I do notice those and I will respond. And so I'll put in the show notes my contact info as well. If there's anything I can do for you, just reach out. You'd be surprised how much help you can get when you just ask. So that's my message for today. I hope you have an amazing day. Once again, my name is George Wright III. This has been the Daily Mastermind. I'll talk with you tomorrow.